We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show.
We answer that and more. Steve and Jill here.
Good day.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Butella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from sunny Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about your fire is burning inside of you, and at some point, it's going to go out.
I could not imagine a more depressing title. What does this mean?
It's very positive. I don't know why you think it's negative.
Well, it sounds like at some point your marriage will fall apart. The fire will go. That's what it sounds like.
Oh, is that how you see this?
That's why. The fire is going to go out. I don't want that to happen. Hasn't happened with us.
That's not what this is. Here.
Okay. Please help me feel better.
So you know where this comes from? Here. Well, you know what? Let's do a question first, and I'll tell you all about it.
Okay.
It comes from a line in a book that Lee Iacocca wrote. The guy that took over Chrysler is originally from Ford, took over Chrysler. And when he was talking about it with his wife afterward, about like looking back on, wow, would you do that again?
His ex-wife?
I don't know what happened to them, actually. This is not about marriage, by the way.
Okay.
And she just said, you've got some kind of inferno inside of you that just won't go out. And that's what it sparked my, it inspired me to do the show that Jill clearly is disgusted by.
I can't wait to hear more about it after the question.
Let's take a question posted by one of our members on the LandInvestorscom online community. It's free.
John asks, Land Investors, simple question. Would you show a seller a picture of their property? The seller agrees to sell his 10-acre land, but he sends in a counteroffer that's higher than you wanted to go. After reviewing the lot on the parcel fact, you notice that a quarter of the lot has been cleared and it appears someone's been using the lot. No building. In response to his counter, you decide to bring him back to your price range. This sounds like asking for a friend, by the way. So, in response to his counter, you decide to bring him back to your price range by sharing the property seems to have been used recreationally and cleared. If I show him a picture, he won't get tempted to think I'm blowing smoke. Would you show the seller a picture? If he hasn't seen it in over 3 years, I wouldn't want to inspire him to keep the property. I don't have any problems with this.
This happens all the time.
Yeah.
In reality, it happens all the time with us, especially with rural vacant land, not so much with infill lots or urban property. If you obviously send an offer to a person and they come back and they say, yeah, I do want to sell the property, but I don't like your price. Here's the price. And so you look it up. This is the exact order that it happens, usually in parcel fact. And you find all the good stuff about it. In an eighth of a second, you can see what's good about it and what's not so good about it. And so if it's like, what does this guy think? And I'm not even sure I would pay what I actually offered, which happens. Sometimes I do a little short video, I like a screenshot video, or sometimes I just take a screenshot and put some text in there that says, look, this property clearly has questionable access. It's next to, I just reviewed one yesterday that's next to a strip mine that's got like, there's a lot of things wrong with it that I would never buy for environmental reasons. So you got to go, if you do want to buy the property, send back a picture and say, this is why I'm willing to pay this, or I'm not willing to pay this. So I think we have talked about this, and I talk about it all through the educational programs. I think it's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You could spin it either way. Here's why, what's good about it, what's not good about it. That's about it.
Today's topic.
It's Friday.
Today's topic. Your fire's burning, and at some point it's going to go out. This is the meat of the show. And clearly, I'm going to do this whole show myself.
Just like Jill just did. The fire went out on that question.
This is not limitless. And when you're young, everybody who's a little bit older remembers when that switch kind of flipped. Like, I used to race super bikes, and I remember exact moment. Drag your knee on the ground motorcycles. The exact moment when I lost that, what racers call that edge, or that blatant disregard and for
life,
personal safety.
Yeah.
So a lot in business that happens too. It happens at different people's at different times in people's lives. Colonel Sanders started Kentucky Fried Chicken when he was like in his late 80s or 90s or something crazy. Out west, there's this company called the 99-cent store, which is just all over on every block, and that was started in the guy's. He was in his 80s when he started that. So everybody has a finite amount of energy, and some people don't have it at all. I mean, I can think back to going to school with certain people or that you work with them. They're just walking around like Eeyore. So they just have no entrepreneurial spark at all. So you're obviously, as a listener or a watcher, a viewer, somewhere in between that spectrum. But I'm here to tell you, it goes down over time. It doesn't just, you're not going to make hay while the sun shines is the whole point of the show. If you are inspired to buy or sell some real estate, make yourself a better life, do some stuff for your family or yourself, what's inside of you, go do it. It's not going to get better next year. Next year, unless you're, I don't know, tied down with college or some crazy thing like that, or, you're in something like a college education or some version of something that is going to end in a few years.
Maybe like military.
Or military is a good example.
It's positive, and you're going to have more free time.
Yeah,
it will get better.
You're growing still.
Correct.
That's a huge advantage because you can plan. You can sit there and say, when I get out of the service or when I'm done with school, I know I'm going to work for 2 years, get a certain bank balance, and then I'm going to go do this entrepreneurial
I can
thing.
throw it all at this.
Right. I'm in my 50s, and for whatever reason, this entrepreneurial thing for me hasn't stopped. I was planning in my 30s what I was going to do in my 40s, and my 40s what I was going to do in my 50s, and I'm real happy with what's going on in my 50s personally, professionally, and I'm planning for my 60s. So,
some therapists call that a condition.
We're not here to talk about Jack's mental health. We all know Joe's perfect, and she keeps me from floating away, floating out to sea.
That's right. That's actually physically true.
For whatever reason, I mentally prepare myself that my energy level and my faculties, like what I can remember, and my all this how I just assume they're going to go down because of age. So I don't see you. I don't see your ambition or your drive or, I see you waking up with a smile every day and jumping up and having fun. So,
you know why? I change what I watch and recognize what motivates me and use it to my advantage. My motivation changes all the time. For example, where we live now, check. Our monetary situation, check. Like, there's a lot of reasons that I could just sit back and coast right now and just say, I'm done. I have my bucket list, or everything I wanted to accomplish in my life I met, and I'm out. I'll be over here. I could do that, but I don't. And part of it is I'm having so much fun. I want to keep doing all this stuff with you.
Yeah.
So I keep an eye out, and I'm constantly, I dangle a carrot in front of myself all the time.
Wow.
And
so everybody's got their own thing.
Mm-hmm. And it changes.
I had a football coach say, and I've said this a couple times in the show in the distant past, you're either going to tomorrow, you're going to wake up, you're going to either be better at this or worse. But I can tell you for sure, you're not going to be the same. So you have control over that. I said that at the live event, and somebody stood up in the back and said, that's one of Weight Watchers' mantras too. And I'm like, well, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
You're either going to weigh more tomorrow or less, but not the same.
I weigh the same.
You do?
You can. If you're careful, you could do that. But I know what you mean. Technically,
exactly
it's not perfect. All right, you're correct.
So you have control over that. That's the whole point. But this Inferno thing, this Lee Iacocca Inferno thing, it goes away. At some point, that's why old people retire. Maybe some of them never do. I don't know.
What if the Inferno didn't go away, but it's just you can't keep up?
You can keep up because you have a choice. My way of keeping up, because mine, sometimes directionless ambition is channeled through people who I ask to, delegation, really, whether it's partners or employees or whatever.
Oh, so you recognize you still have the fire. You maybe not be the best person to do it.
And the wisdom now, Go ahead.
Correct. So your way of keeping it going is going to be, I'm going to make sure that person gets that done,
That's it.
that gets that done, that gets done.
That's it.
Because then at the end, I'm still hitting my same goal.
Yeah, so then you end up being in your 60s and you got a staff around you or partners around you or a source of venture capital or whatever it is that understand you, understand your crazy stuff and your financial performance requirements and on and on and on. And that's how you actually really leverage yourself, in my opinion, and arrange for retirement. So now you wake up in the morning and you're reviewing reports and you've got people around you that can handle whatever tragedy happens, because it always does. There's always a tragedy, always. I don't care what happens.
This is very good. Thank you. This is a good topic.
This is
and
not
you just
sparks going out in my relationship.
That's what it sounded like.
I am famous for mistitling what stuff is, according to Jill.
I just had no idea. And I'm sure you didn't either until you started listening to this show. Like, what the heck is this? Are they getting a divorce? Oh, please don't let them get a divorce. Oh, babe. Our power couple. Just kidding. The fire did not go
Power
out.
couple. Where did that come from? Power couple.
I don't know. I didn't make it up, but.
If you think of yourself as a power couple, you got issues, man. Bigger issues than I do.
I don't.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the camera.
Okay.
I know you don't.
But that was a great topic and a great solution. But just
Good.
recognize it, plan for it, put people in place, and you'll be ready.
There's some people that, what else prompted this is that I started down the path of starting a company with some young people recently. And I elected to, it would have been a great company, and I think they're going to do it anyway. So I'm glad it's going to actually it's going to happen. But you get to a point where, and Jill and I are at that point where we have to choose very specifically what we're going to work on. Because there's only a certain amount of time and a certain amount of resources and a certain number of reports that you can look at and relationships that you can have when you're really close knit, because it requires personal attention to get this stuff done. We just couldn't get the outcome, the vast potential outcome and the stuff that we would have to put into it. It just wasn't, all the pieces of the puzzle didn't fit. We're working on some other stuff that's going to yield crazy amounts of interest and revenue. And I think it's going to become something amazing. It's called neighborscoop.com, and it's going to be released soon.
And in Jillified explanation, it's prioritizing. You really got to pick and choose what's worth your time. And
Yeah.
we pick time and outcome. And there's things that are a labor of love. That's a good outcome. It doesn't always have to be money related. Right. But as you get older and your business grows, if you're not already there and experience this, you will.
If you're super lucky, you'll have children or really close younger people around you that replace that inferno and that are going to look to you as a consultant. And that's the perfect situation that you can be in.
Happy you could join us today. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can find us right here on the Land Academy Show. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're over on the House Academy Show.
That said, next week, join us on the Land Academy Show for another interesting episode, because you are not alone in your real estate ambition.
That was a very good way to end the week.
It was kind of a Jack and Jill show episode.
It was very spiritual.
I hope it's motivational.
I think it was.
You know what I really wanted to say? I don't know if I said it clearly. If you want to join some group to buy and sell some real estate, do it. Don't because your inferno's burning, man. Don't unless you're in the military or, getting out of a marriage and you can see the end in sight. It's time's now.
I knew the marriage thing would come up. The Land Academy Show remains commercial free for you, our loyal listener. Wherever you're watching or wherever you're listening, please subscribe and rate us there. We're Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.